Repeat after me. I swear by Almighty God.
I swear by Almighty God.
Swear by Almighty God.
The evidence I shall give to this Royal Commission.
The evidence I shall give to this Royal Commission.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
Whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
Nothing but the truth.
Thank you. Take a seat.
Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I'm here with something that is, in my humble opinion, very big. And I don't think everyone quite understands the consequences of what this could be. And I know it was released yesterday in Australia, Kezia Whitton, and she has been so brave. Thank you, Kezia. We appreciate it. I mean, you are a warrior and so strong, you know, and an advocate, and so brave for coming forward. And I would love to talk to you, you know, so if you want to do a video together, please, you know, we'd love to hear more from you. And anyway, much love and support. Now, before I get into what is going on in Australia, I need to kind of set a foundation, because there's a lot of newly out ones, and there's even an elder who just did his first video that he is recently out, and one of the things that woke him up was the Australian Royal Commission. So 10 years later, the Australian Royal Commission is still doing its job of waking Jehovah's Witnesses up. And I will put the link down below to his video so you can see it. But getting back to this, what's going on in Australia. And I want to thank everybody who sent me the links and the information on all of this, because I'll cover a few more news items at the end. So I want to set the foundation first. Back in when we were first waking up in 2012, and in 2013 we started hearing about the Australian Royal Commission and how they were going to be investigating organizations and religious organizations, aka Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, let's fast forward. After that, we all know what happened. The hearings are available on YouTube. You just do a search, Australian Royal Commission, and listen especially to Jeffrey Jackson's 2-day testimony on day 8, because that was a real eye-opener for many Jehovah's Witnesses. So I have the May 2019 article here, and you can find this on jw.org. It's the Watchtower study article, and it's study article number 19, Love and Justice in the Face of Wickedness. Now, when you read this, it's mostly talking about CSA and the wickedness and how it's a grave sin. See, they still view it as a sin instead of a crime. Now, we have heard that when you go up to a cart or a JW on the street and ask them about their CSA systemic problem, they will gladly tell you, oh, well, the governing body took care of that. The elders report all of them now. So, you know, this isn't a problem anymore. And I almost feel sorry for those Jehovah's Witnesses, because they honestly believe this. And that is the sad thing, is they are out there lying to the public, and they honestly believe this. So, you know, I put the blame, the guilt at the foot of the governing body and the writing department. All right. Paragraph 3. Sadly, CSA is a worldwide plague, and true Christians have been affected by this plague. Why? Because wicked men and impostors abound, and some may try to enter the congregation. No, some have entered into the congregation. Many are in positions of trust, like elders and ministerial servants. So And then let us discuss why CSA is such a grave sin. See, there again, they still view it as a sin. Now, when you go over to page 9, a grave sin, a sin against the victim, a sin against the congregation, a sin against the secular authorities, above all, a sin against God. Now, the thing is when they say a sin against the congregation and he brings reproach on the congregation, how unfair it is to millions of faithful Christians who are putting up a hard fight. Well, how sad and unfair that these millions of honest-hearted Jehovah's Witnesses don't even know that they have these pervos right in their congregation among them. And does the elders warn any of the parents not, to watch their kids around these pervos? No, they don't. So, when you go over to page 10, handling instances of serious wrongdoing. The elder's responsibility. In addition, paragraph 11. If the wrongdoer is a part of the congregation, elders are concerned with trying to restore him if that is possible. A Christian who gives in to wrong desire and commits a serious sin is spiritually sick. Not just spiritually sick, mentally also. When you go down to paragraph 13, and this is why I'm bringing up this article. Do elders comply with secular laws about reporting an allegation of CSA to the secular authorities? Yes. Doesn't matter what they say afterwards. It says yes. Okay? Now, you want to know the proof of their lies? Australian Royal Commission. Thank you, Shelley, very much. I enjoyed talking to you last night. I was talking to Shelley, BCG. She testified at the Australian Royal Commission. And I'm hoping to be able to do a video talking to her about some things that have come up pertaining to this also. But she was kind enough to send me transcripts from the Australian Royal Commission. And I want to mention here on this transcript, dated October 3rd, 2017. This was when, after the study was complete and all of this, they had to come back and they basically did like a follow-up, debriefing, whatever you want to call it. And their Watchtower elder, he actually testified in the first hearings in 2014. But he says, we've also since had members of our legal department here in Australia spend time at world headquarters, that would be New York.
Now, Mr. O'Brien, I take it that following the hearing in case study 29, there was discussion at the branch committee level in relation to various of the points and issues that had arisen in the Royal Commission hearing. Is that right?
Yes.
Can you explain what process Watchtower Australia went through in order to address the issues that had been raised?
So, as a branch committee, we considered the various issues as they applied to us as a branch committee, what areas of responsibility we could implement any suggested changes. You would know, we had representatives from our world headquarters legal department here at case 29, and they returned with the case reports, and they've obviously looked at the reports in between. We've also since had members of our legal department here in Australia spend time at world headquarters. So many of these issues have been discussed, and that's where we are at present with them.
And was there consultation between the branch committee and World headquarters in relation to any of the issues?
Yes, definitely.
And in what way did that consultation take place?
Well, first, as I mentioned, the two legal representatives who were here took back the information after conferring with the branch committee before leaving. Then we had members of our legal department over there in consultation. And then in between we've had, prior to my going to Papua New Guinea, I was involved in some, but since then too, quite a number of video conferences with personnel from World Headquarters Legal, our branch committee.
And those discussions, I take it, were exploring what between you regarded to be necessary or advisable changes. Would that be right?
Yes, where we could improve in our policy and practices and procedures. That was the content of the discussions.
Now, also from the transcript, let's see, I don't have a page number. The Royal Commission will hear evidence that since case study 29, and that was the original Jehovah's Witness case study, the Jehovah's Witnesses have published 2 new documents which together outline how the organization is child safe. Now I want to make a note here that these booklets were not passed around to every single member in every single congregation. Okay?
Now, the upshot of that process you've described, as I understand it, is that initially at least 2 new documents were produced, one a guide to service desks and one a letter to elders. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
It's just as well to identify them because they become the critical documents. So if I can refer you to the document at tab 6. Well, actually, let's start, if I may, at tab 7. I beg your pardon. Now, that is a letter to all bodies of elders dated 1 August 2016. It's on the letterhead of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Australia. Now, first, I take it was sent to all the bodies of elders under the responsibility of the Australia branch. Is that right?
That's correct.
And it's in identical or near identical form to a letter which was, to the best of your knowledge, sent to all bodies of elders around the world. Is that right?
Yes, obviously there would be some local adjustments depending on the legal aspects of different branch territories.
And so this letter was specifically authorised by the World Headquarters, is that right?
Yes.
And then the other document at tab 6 is the Child Protection Guidelines for Branch Office Service Desks, and it's referred to as the S66 document, is that right?
That's correct.
And that, as I understand it, was sent to particular officers at service desks of branch offices around the world, is that right?
As I understand, yes.
Yes. So, if I understand this correctly, neither of these 2 documents go to ordinary congregants of the Jehovah's Witnesses, is that correct?
No, they have a particular audience, so the branch guidelines were prepared specifically to assist service desks at branches in knowing how to respond to elders who would call in for direction. The letter to the bodies of elders was provided for that audience, specifically for elders, so they would know their obligations or how to best handle any accusations of child abuse and consequent shepherding of the victims.
From the transcript, the Jehovah's Witnesses will give evidence that they comply with mandatory reporting laws. Let me repeat that for emphasis, because this is the creme de la creme of what this video is about. The Jehovah's Witnesses will give evidence that they comply with mandatory reporting laws.
And in fact, the Royal Commission recommended, as you'll be aware, that the organisation should always report allegations of child sexual abuse to authorities where the complainant is still a minor at the time that the abuse comes to the attention of the organisation, or where there are others who may still be at risk at the hands of the alleged abuser. Now, you haven't adopted that recommendation. Can you explain why?
We have, with respect, Mr Stewart, again, if it's documentation, that may be the case, but you're aware that each of the incidents that have been reported to us, whatever the seriousness of it, since the public hearing, have been reported to the police for the very reason that you raise.
Kezia wasn't even asked if she wanted to report it. Nothing. Nothing was done. It was not reported. Okay? Now, I'm going to put the link down below to this article. This is from ABC News in Australia. It is dated 1/29/2024, so it would have been our yesterday. When justice comes knocking. Raised in a strict Jehovah's Witness community, Kezia Whitton's childhood was stolen when she was abused by someone she should have been able to trust. But despite its promises to the CSA Royal Commission, the church did nothing to help bring him to justice. Warning, the story contains references to CSA. Okay. She went to court. Her brother was the pervo, and he confessed. He was the man who confessed the abuse to Jehovah's Witness elders following the Royal Commission into CSA and wasn't reported to the police. Do you see now why this is a biggie? Because they're lying to the world and lying to their members that now, since it's a mandatory reporting, they report these cases. Unless, of course, the survivors don't want to report it. Okay? Then it goes on to talk about her upbringing and, details of what happened. So you can, go and read her story. It's very sad. And the biggest thing, though, is the Jehovah's Witness elders knew. They knew this was going on, and it was abandoned. Even this article says the matter was abandoned. So you can go and read her story. But, what I want everybody to understand is that Watchtower and the elders lied to the Australian Royal Commission and didn't report after they had agreed to comply. And they're still saying, oh yeah, we comply. Well, like I read in that Watchtower article, every single Jehovah's Witness now believes that these elders report all of these cases. No, they don't. They don't. So, in my conversation with Shelley last night, I agreed with her. Watchtower, the elders in Australia now, should be charged. Criminally charged. Not just for the lying part of it, but for not complying, being mandatory reporters. So you can see why I felt, in my humble opinion, that this was a biggie. It is. It is. And this was after. Note the date, August 6, 2018, is after case study 29 and case study 54. This means that the Watchtower Company knew that they should have advised Kezia that she has the absolute right to report to the police, as per the testimony in case study 54. The Watchtower Company and elders should have known that they should report to the police to protect other children. And they didn't. They didn't. All right. Now here is something else, and I want to thank everybody who sent this to me. Now this is from the Moscow Times. Take it with a grain of salt. You do your research, and if you want to believe it or not. But this is something that is really going around, and I've been checking on jw.org in the news, because usually when Russia goes after Jehovah's Witnesses Watchtower, they're usually crying, oh, persecution, persecution. and there's no mention of this yet, and I'll put the link down below. Russia's FSB raids Jehovah's Witness office in occupied Mariupol, I think it is. And you can read this article and make up your own mind. You know, I'm just putting this information out because I want to remind everybody that Jehovah's Witnesses Watchtower is banned in Russia, and they're marked as extremist. Well, according to this report, when they went in to the local branch of this Mariupol, they found documents that show Watchtower was supporting the other side. So this is very interesting, and this could be big. And to be honest, it didn't surprise me any, because I know what they're like. We have seen so much going on that this doesn't surprise me, because we know. Look, we did a video back in World War II where Watchtower was actually openly helping Australia in that war. So, yeah. All right, and I want to thank Atlantis for this. It's like, oh my God. The report that was sent to me from a former Bethelite who has family members that go to that Kingdom Hall. The report: for the second time in 2 months, the Kingdom Hall was closed due to bed bugs. Exterminator came twice. I'm wondering about the people who come to the hall now in person. Yeah, makes you wonder. Now think about that. You're in your fine Jehovah's Witness dress clothes, and you go in and you're talking to everybody, and then you sit down in these seats. Now, I know most Kingdom Halls in this country have fabric seats. Bed bugs are nasty little creatures that get down inside of fabric and foam, bedding, towels, clothes, anywhere. And what they do is, when you sit down in these seats, on couches, chairs, beds, whatever, then they start crawling on you and bite you. And then, if this is at the Kingdom Hall, how many are getting in your book bag, on your clothes, in your purses, in your hair? Oh my God. This just gave me the heebie-jeebies so bad. It's like innocent Jehovah's Witnesses walking into a Kingdom Hall, and then you think the exterminator came and the problem is solved, and then it happens again. Didn't get rid of them, you still have a bad case of bed bugs. See, and they also get into carpeting and drapes, everything. So it's like, ew. And what if this isn't the only Kingdom Hall? What if it's not? What if there are many others? Makes you wonder. So thank you very much, everybody. And I appreciate you spending time with me and viewing this video. And thank you, Kezia, again so much for your bravery and your strength of going and talking to this reporter. And I'm going to play the clip from the ABC News. And like I said, I will also put the link down below. So you all have a wonderful day. Bye.
Kezia Whitton fears the Jehovah's Witnesses are still hiding child sexual abuse.
You're a survivor every day you survive.
The 34-year-old from regional Western Australia grew up in the Jehovah's Witnesses faith, which believes Armageddon is imminent. But there was a far greater threat inside her family home. About 3 decades ago, aged just 5, Kezia Whitton was sexually abused by her brother, Joel Whitton, who was over 18 at the time.
He should have been hurting for me, not hurting me. Nothing like that should ever happen to a child, ever.
It left her with deep emotional scars and trauma.
I was pretty committed to killing myself.
Kezia confronted Joel later in life, and he confessed to the Jehovah's Witnesses elders in 2018, following the Royal Commission into Child Sexual Abuse. But the elders chose to conduct their own investigation and not report the matter to police. This was despite the faith group committing to report child sexual abuse during the inquiry. Kezia then decided to report the matter to police herself after having a child of her own, and Joel pleaded guilty and was jailed late last year. The Jehovah's Witnesses didn't respond to all questions, they say, to protect the privacy of those involved, but say they regard child abuse as a crime and abhorrent sin. WA's mandatory reporting laws don't require religious organisations to report historical abuse which occurred before 2022, even if the survivor is still currently a child. It's something survivors like Kezia Whitton want changed, but the state government says the laws were not intended to address historical abuse. With her abuser now jailed, Kezia has started making candles to help her find the light in her life.
I think it's knowing that you're a lot more than what hurt you, instead of letting it consume you completely.
She says other survivors shouldn't give up hope. Brianna Fiore, ABC News.